Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to our seminar. We still have many interesting topics and discussion coming up for all of you today. How about food? How about breaks? Good? Okay, so for the next session, we move for the setting the scene plenary session. So in this session, representatives from various agencies will share their organizational perspective and approaches to public procurement, focusing on how it can drive job creation, the economic growth. They will also highlight procurement innovation, including tools, approaches, and how impact is measured. We are honored to have three distinguished speakers from both government agencies and leading international organizations who play an important role in advancing public procurement across the region. Ladies and gentlemen, she is an expert in public financial management and procurement, playing a key role in ensuring efficient, transparent, and value for money public spending. She has been instrumental in advanced green public procurement and sustainable financial initiatives, and bring extensive experience in international tax cooperation and public financial governance. Everybody, please join me in welcoming Mrs. Patricia Mongkhonvanit, Director General from Controller General's Department of Thailand. Please welcome Mrs. Patricia.
Sawadee-ka. Welcome to Bangkok once again. Unfortunately, you come to Bangkok at the very hottest time of the year. So, but by the river, I think you can get some breeze. And also, you probably, if you arrived earlier yesterday, you probably know that you are surrounded by a very big shopping mall next to you. So please enjoy yourself. Out of the schedule, you have some entertainment around you, okay? Actually, we were kind of being designed to touch upon 4 core questions in our upcoming speakers' presentation or note that we will be sharing with you. The first one is that how procurement can be a strategic move in paving economic growth. Next would be what's innovation that we are very proud of within back 2 years. And the third one would be how do we handle with the oil surge situation right now in public procurement. And last but not least, what do we foresee in the future? And these will be the main topics that we will share with all of you today. So let's move back to my direction as a representative from Thailand. Public procurement has evolved beyond a traditional focus on fairness, efficiencies, and transparency. It's now being utilized as a strategic policy tools to actively drive economic growth. This morning you have heard my minister mention a lot that what we have used public procurement in shaping a lot of aspects. We leverage procurement to stimulate specific sectors, including SMEs, local manufacturing, and high-value innovation. So what do we do exactly in helping them? For SMEs, we give 10% price preference in competitive biddings. So what is the result on that? Last year, this strategy resulted in SME winning 60% of the number of contracts, worthing over $20 billion, representing nearly 40% of the total national public procurement values, which is a lot. But as Minister mentioned, how could we improve more? One thing he mentioned is about giving facilities through the digital platform of the financial institution called Prombits. How does that work? When the bidders was awarded the contract, and they will be asked whether you need facilities from bank. if they want to get facilities from banks, they made a consent, and all the information of the project that particular bidders want will be sent to the banks for consideration, whether the bank would grant the bidding, the facilities, and how would they negotiation on terms, interest and terms. So we are only the connector. We provide informations, but the decision between the bidders and the financial institutions are among themselves. So we are bridging the gap, because right now we face a lot of problems about a lot of bidders could not reach the banking facilities. And also we face a lot of abandon of work because of the shortage of cash flows. So we are trying to bridge that gap by connecting the bidders together with the financial institutions. We have successfully, latest figure is that we at least 100 projects has been approved already. For this, and these facilities are available only for SMEs, not for the big corporations. Later on this, probably by this year, we will probably give another 5% price advantage for SMEs if they issue electronic tax invoice. Why? As we all know, SMEs and tax compliance are two different worlds. So how can we bridge that, make them more compliant, and also not just VAT compliant, but electronic tax invoices? So we are on the project of fine-tuning the solution, and then we probably will launch it within this year. Now, about innovations, Made in Thailand, another project that we have given privilege, especially for the innovation products that is made in Thailand. We encourage government agencies to purchase at least 30% of the innovation products that are made in Thailand. But this is not mandatory, but encouraged. So we have seen a lot of spike in innovation product being listed in our pool. But frankly speaking, we still have a lot of problems and frauds regarding these SMEs privileges and innovation, which we have to go back and fine-tune and make sure that the real SMEs are getting benefits. The real innovation products are getting benefits, not just like once and for all and enjoying and using that privilege to win the bidder over the real one that should be getting the benefits. Okay, now, next question would be, what would be my most proud projects or innovations? I've been the DG of CGD for 2 years, I guess, and I would say that the proudest one is to introduce the Green Public Procurement initiatives. Why? Because Thailand commits everywhere that we'll enter the carbon neutrality, net zero emissions, but looking back, public procurement has not previously been utilized as a tool to enhance the government in reaching those goals. So last month, I think we have launched the comprehensive green public procurement framework designed to integrate sustainability criteria directly into the national procurement ecosystems. This initiative built building my career-long commitment to green fiscal policy. Because if you look back my background a bit, I used to be a DG of PDMO, the Public Debt Management Office. Back then, we successfully inaugurated the first sustainability bond in Thailand and together in Asia. So I'm a green person, so this green come along with me. So from the debt sustainability, now I'm pushing the green public procurement. This year, we hope that at least 100 million US dollars will be a benchmark for us for the first year, and the green public procurement of values that the government agency will successfully comply with our benchmark. And this framework is designed to scale, moving beyond simple compliance to create permanent market for sustainable goods and services within Thai public sectors. Okay, now move back to the reality of today's global conflict. I think we, as a chief of from public procurement agencies, we also have same problem, is that oil price surged dramatically. The construction sites, how are the contractors that are contracted going to build it with this at the moment price? Asphalt price has doubled. How the road will be built and how the government will help them. Recently, we issued a measure to expand and update the oil price base in calculation for the reference price for construction projects. We haven't touched much of the median oil price in calculating median price of the project. So we fluctuate that, take into the account the actual oil price at the moment, and then make it available for government agencies to use that oil price to reflect current market realities rather than the outdated data. By aligning the cost to volatile market, also we make these mechanisms protect procurement outcome by ensuring infrastructure and civil works projects remain financially viable and reducing risks of abandon of the conflicts. The other thing we allow contractors to do is that if they have given the proof to the government agencies that their current projects, they cannot do the current project due to the shortage of raw materials and also the price hike, they have to submit the document to the responsible agencies and seeking to extend the project time. How would they extend the time, and then what's the real reason, and then how do the contract calculate and then forecast that what would be the implication of the differences of the price, and the budget bureau will set aside a budget and then will reimburse to the government agencies and pay back to the contractors. So this is a project that are being utilized and being discussed among government agencies, main contracting government agencies, Bureau of the Budget, and also the CGD, as well as the contractors. What is our commitment? My commitment, as I want to shift the perception of procurement from a high-risk area of corruption to a global benchmark for integrity through radical transparencies. We have implemented cost, infrastructure in transparency initiative, which full disclosure of project data across all stages of infrastructure deliveries are published. These can be found from our website. Also, our law mandates integrity pacts, which mandate the independent observers for high-value projects exceeding about 30 million up. These projects will be randomly selected by a group of experts that which project needs to have the independent observers to observe starting from the beginning at the stage of TOR drafting and along the line until the project close. The independent observers will closely monitor these projects, especially the high risk of corruption projects. We hope that we will launch, not hope, but I set the benchmark by Q3. We will do the first comprehensive data sets on public procurement and make it a public. So we have this data set of public procurement, make it an open data. So a lot of government interest, those who are interested in the data will use this data to analyze on their own, on their perspectives. And what do we, the last question is that what do I envision in 2030? I hope that our procurement system is fully, seamless digital journey, entirely ecosystem from planning to payment is integrated. You will hear on my next panel that there are some missing link in our EGP system and how we will bridge that gap. The other thing is that we need to improve our operation efficiencies. A reform system where appeal process no longer serve as a major bottleneck. I don't know in your countries, but in my countries, there's a lot of appeal cases. And these delay the injection of the public money into the market, into the economy, because of the appeal case, the lengthy appeal procedures. So we are going to use technology to make it more efficient, ensuring that the government projects are delivered without unnecessary delays. Lastly, I want to build a pathway for procurement landscape that is competitive, fair, and fully aligned and compliant with international standards. And as the government has a very strong policy in accession to become OECD members, so I want to make sure that our policies in public procurement is in line with the global standards and positioning Thailand as a leader in the regional governance. That would be all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Patricia Mongkhonvanit, Director General from Controller General's Department of Thailand. Thank you for sharing Thailand's direction and Thailand's perspective from your will. Surely we're trying to enhance our ability to improve our standard of public procurement to reach to the international standard. Next to our speakers, he is an expert in public procurement and public financial management with extensive international experience. He plays a role in leading procurement operation and advancing policy dialogue across the East Asia and Pacific region. He has also been instrumental in promoting innovation, transparency, and efficiency in public procurement system. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Diomedes Berroa, Regional Procurement Manager from East Asia and the Pacific from World Bank. Please welcome.
Good morning, everybody. And first of all, I want to acknowledge to the Kingdom of Thailand for gathering here today in this incredible space, in this incredible conference, and all of you for your participation. My gratitude to the Controller General Department, Patricia, for having the World Bank, but also the Asian Development Bank a co-hoster, and also for the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank to be present here as one of our collaborators. So thank you very much for the questions that were posed to us, and I will try to answer all of them in the following way. So the first question is about what is the most relevant policy or strategy that will happen in the context of the World Bank related to procurement. Can I explain the problem and then the strategy? The problem is that by the end of the next decade, just in East Asia, the Pacific, 320 million people, we enter into the job market. And if we continue with the same way by generating jobs, there will be a gap around 110 million jobs. 110 million jobs, which represent mostly 50% of the gap. So in my institution, one of the most important and I guess critical internal reform was posting job creation as a key strategy for the World Bank Group. That's what it means. Moving forward in 2025, aspects related to financing, lending, policy dialogue, analytical work, but also private sector mobilization need to respond to that question or to that urgent situation. And what is procurement? Clearly, procurement is a core delivery mechanism to that end. It's one of those. Many others, but one of those. Every single contract generates a job. So the question is where and how and what kind the benefits get those that have been benefits or, for that job. Specifically in procurement, what exactly are the things that we are doing together with all of you? The first one is that to modifying the bidding documents, at least 30% of the local labor should be, or the total 30% of the total value of the labor should be local. This is something that is across as a mandatory approach, and the objectives of that is that will promote more and more the participation of those that will be at the end the beneficiary of those kind of projects. So, and that is a challenge. That is a big challenge, but we need to start promoting the participation of the local labor in the context of the procurement financed by the World Bank. The second point, which is extremely important as well, is that building human capital. How we can do that? The minister this morning was talking about upskill, develop capacities. And that is something that we can use because in 2016, and more recently in 2023, the user rating criteria is going to be, or the merit point is going to be an opportunity for us to evaluate better those proposals that promote sustainability, that promote the participation of skills of that local labor that we were talking before, the transfers of knowledge from those companies that have been working in the same sector in the past to those countries that have been benefited from this particular project. Another thing that was very much aligned with Patricia welcoming and opening, and is about bringing economic opportunity to a small and medium enterprise, a local market. This is extremely important. The data show us that 90% of the jobs created worldwide is done by small and medium enterprise. 90%. So we should not undermine the power of the small and medium enterprises. And therefore, what we need to do in the context of procurement is that me sitting here with my staff, helping you in order to find a way to simplify requirements, procedures, but also to facilitate payments and financing, as Patricia was saying, in the context of to facilitate the participation of small and medium enterprise. And that is something that, together with you, we are doing. And finally, something very much linked to the World Bank Group jobs creation agenda is going to be enabling us to scale up the private sector. This is something that is something new, honestly, something that we have some experience in the region already, but is that our financial lending should be complemented with financings from the International Finance Corporation to the private sector, or also to de-risk all the issues that would happen in the context of the implementation through the participation of the multi-investment guarantee agency that we have at the World Bank. This is a big challenge that we have, but also a great opportunity to show that procurement could be a very effective instrument in order to have a positive impact in job creation. So answer to your first question for us is that procurement is and will be a very important force in order to promote the job creation in countries. On the second point about driving innovation and Patricia, this is a question that put me myself in a little difficult situation because all my clients are here, but I want to pick up some of them, okay? So please, for those that have not been mentioned here, it doesn't mean that you are not close to my heart. The thing that is that we're just going to be having the opportunity to forecast better during the next 3 days. One, I like what the minister said today, early today, that it's not about how much we spend, it's how efficiency we make that spending. That is something that hopefully you leave after the 3 days conference asking yourself just the answer to that question in the context when you do policy, but also when you do operational procurement. That is very powerful. It's not how much money we are spending here, but actually whether or not we are efficient. And that is something that happened to us in our own houses. When we make decisions about buying, it's not about how much it costs or less it costs, but how sustainable that will be for the family as well. From food, etc., we can buy the cheapest thing, but it could have some long-term consequence about the quality nutrition that the food that you buy at home, and you know that. So if you translate that concept in procurement, you will find situation as follows. So it's about how efficient we are going to do. A couple of things that I'm very, very proud that my team, myself, and working with many of you, we have done is one, the first one, technology. We cannot walk away from that. The train departed a long time ago. For this particular profession, if we are not embracing technology, we are going to be obsolete in a couple of years, completely. And that, in one particular thing that we are doing here, among other things that is going to be presented in the next 2 days is one, the dashboards. And we have been working with several governments in order to put together a dashboard not only to monitor compliance, but also very much focus on what kind of information is given on the dashboard on data to make a strategic decision moving forward. That is powerful. Before we were making policy decisions without data. Now things change completely. The other thing that is important that we are doing in our projects, and it's going to be a presentation, is a project. It's a project management tool that is going to facilitate the life of many people, and that is going to be more detailed. And finally, when it comes to technologies, it's important to mention as well that we are looking at technology in order to identify integrity risk and resolve integrity risk before it happens, not just focus on processing cases of corruption. We have the capacity, the data can show us when those potential red flags of procurement could happen, and that is going to be one presentation that is going to take place in the following days. Driving innovation through innovative approaches. Again, apologies for all of you because we have been working in different innovative approaches, but I just need to pick up at least three of them, okay? One, the first one, together with the Pacific Islands Forum Secretary, for the first time ever, what was the issue? The correspondent banking services in the Pacifics is a critical stage. And together with PIF, this is and we have here the General Secretary, we have the opportunity to bring, for the first time ever, to bring the banking institution to take care of this kind of problem, resolve this problem. The problem is complex and the solution is even more complex as well. This is something that has been taking us a lot of time, discussions, but working together is very important. So this is one product that is completely pure innovation through competitive dialogue, having opportunity to listen to an industry that we never, ever worked with before. The other one that I just want to illustrate here, which is going to give a better details of information, is a project in Indonesia. It's a health project in Indonesia that basically was targeting to address some equipment gaps across 300,000 community health 95,000 primary health care, and 3,000 hospitals. How can we do that across, I don't remember, but I guess 70,000 islands Indonesia has? 70,000? So I got right that number. So the first one was the procurement of large medical equipment, a procurement that had been failed for ages in the public sector. And we wanted to do was that not only to procure, to get that from the supplier, but making sure that the supplier will transport, install, train people, and make an operation those medical equipment, because this is one of the biggest problems with large medical equipment, MRI, etc., that after have been bought or put in place, it doesn't work. So that responsibility was transferred to the supplier. For the first time ever, and thanks to the participation of the International Finance Corporation, we managed for the first time ever to reach the manufacturers of that particular catalog for the scene that we bought, and you are going to keep our explanation. And details is going to be provided, but we cover the whole country, the 3,000 hospital, and the savings or the estimated cost was 52%. By very well reaching the private sector, by listening to them. It took time, but the outcomes are very important. And finally, just another thing from the innovation close to my home, because you have been here for the last 3 years in Thailand, is that how procurement could be instrumental in order to prepare at least 2 bridges that are going to be connecting and providing some economic opportunities to communities. But one of those bridges are going to be built in a lake where there are species, dolphins, in extinction. How to ensure that all these environmental and social critical risks could have been mitigated through procurement. And this is the role that your department or the direction of rural road took place and put together a very comprehensive but very important bidding document that addressed these things. So, when it comes to the crisis in the Middle East, the second question that we're asking us was, what can we do? Listen, the first thing I'm asking my clients is, what did you learn from the COVID experience? And what can we translate into this reality with some proportional when it comes to procurement? Fertilizers, according to the new price information, have increased 64%. And this is a region that is very much focused on agriculture. Fertilizers, 64%. So a couple of things that we do, plus we have some mechanisms in our contracts, etc. But we need to start getting better understanding of the supply chains. We need to collect, what Patricia was saying, better data, collecting data in order to make informed decisions when it comes to the adjustment of the prices that need to be done, not only the transport, etc. I guess that my time is off, but I just want to finalize by saying that what expecting me for 2030? Okay, my first personal expectation is I cannot continue being in Thailand, unfortunately, which I love this country and this city, and they know that. But by 2030, I will expect to continue working with you in any capacity. But there's a couple of things that if I can share with you, and that will be my Christmas tree when it comes to procurement. One, procurement needs to be a strategic tool. And I hope that in the future, procurement will follow the national strategic plans rather than reacting to just compliance and administrative processes. The second one, digital need to be by default. The power of digital data is going to make our lives not only easy for economy purposes, but also to make the right decisions. Please embrace digital. The third one, value for money. It's not just compliance, come on. We need to start thinking about the real value for money of this equation. Another one is that I hope that we have, and this is something we're working with the government of the Philippines, is a professional but also empowered procurement cadre. Another one is that we understand that we create more competitive markets. There's a lot of market concentration. That is not good for procurement at all. But also there will be access, as Patricia was talking about, the small and medium enterprise, but inclusion. Patricia, you are very close to the green procurement and also very close to the gender responsive procurement. So this is something that we need to do more and more. The other one is that integrity risk should be anticipated by using digital tools, not just for sanction those that have been committing some fraud or corruption. And finally, I guess that hopefully that procurement institutions will be resilient and will be adaptable. This is my wishing list, and thank you very much. This is my pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Diomedes Berroa, Regional Procurement Manager from East Asia and the Pacific from World Bank. Thank you for sharing your perspective and vision. We are coming to our final speaker for this session. He is an expert fiduciary governance and public procurement with extensive international experience. He has over 2 decades of experience with the World Bank across multiple regions and currently play a key role in financial management and procurement governance. He also brings expertise in data analysis, sustainable procurement, and infrastructure project management. Without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Kofi Awanyo, Manager of Fiduciary Governance from Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Mr. Kofi, please welcome.
Saudi crop. Good morning, Madam, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a privilege for me to be back in Bangkok to address this distinguished gathering. Infrastructure today is not only about building assets, it's about building resilience, trust, and sustainable economic opportunity for future generations. In that context, the theme of this conference really resonates with the AIIB. AIIB's mission is very clear: financing infrastructure for tomorrow in Asia and beyond, with sustainability at its core. So when I look at the theme of this conference, it fits exactly into what AIIB does. AIIB started operations in 2016 with 9 operations worth $1.7 billion. Today, AIIB has grown into a truly global institution with 111 members and more than 350 projects worth approximately $70 billion across 40 economies. We work closely with our members and partners to mobilize private capital and invest in infrastructure that is green, technology-enabled, and strengthens regional connectivity. These values guide everything we do at AIIB: to be lean, to be clean, and to be green. For us, climate change is real. Collaboration is fundamental to our operating model. So if you look at our procurement spend, over 55% is actually through co-financing with the MDBs that are in this room, with the World Bank, with the Asian Development Bank, with EBRD, with the Islamic Development Bank. So 55% is through co-financing with these institutions, and the recipients use the procurement frameworks of these other MDBs. So we are talking the walk and making harmonization happen on the ground. We are driven by impact, integrity, and innovation. We focus on what is essential, respond decisively to the